Hi everyone, it's Mike here. So over the years that I've been art journaling and sharing videos on YouTube, one of the most common questions I get asked is where I get my inspiration for doing my art journal pages. Now I've done quite a few videos in the past in my top 5 playlist, which you can go back and have a look at later if you want to, where I go through the best places to find inspiration either on the internet or through books or whatever. Apologies for my printer, it's doing weird things again this morning. But what I also like to do is I also like to get inspiration from words and colours and that kind of thing. I set up the Mission Inspiration Facebook group specifically for people who wanted to get inspiration for creating art journal pages and mixed media projects, because I know how difficult it can be looking at a blank piece of paper and not knowing where to start. So having a jumping off point, a springboard, is really useful for creating art journal pages and to get inspiration, get those creative juices flowing. So one of the other things that I also wanted to do for 2019 was develop a set of prompts that were not related to the Mission Inspiration Facebook group as such, but to create some kind of inspirational prompts, if you like, or jumping off springboards that can be used on a weekly basis. Now the Mission Inspiration is a monthly thing, but I like to create at least once a day when I get a chance. And sometimes when I sit down and get the time to sit down, I'm not immediately grabbed with an idea. So having something that I can just randomly pull out that's going to give me inspiration is a real bonus. So that's what I've done. I've developed a set of 52 colour and word prompt cards, playing card sized, that are also backed, that I can keep in a box like so, and then I can just take out one at random. I can either take one from the front, put it to the back, or shuffle the cards and take one at random, and that can be the inspiration for my art journal page. Suggested colour scheme, there's a suggested word in there as well, so something that might spark some creativity for my art journal page. Now I've created these prompt cards as a printable digi-download, which are available on my website now. It's a 15-page document or a 15-page file. It contains all 52 cards, the pattern for the backs, but also it also contains the template for the box. That's also part of the document too. So what I'll do is I'll switch over to my overhead camera where I'll show you the cards. I'll then nip onto my computer and I will show you how I've printed them front to back, and then I'll go back to my main camera if you like, and show you how I cut them out and how I constructed the box for the entire thing. So these are the Random 52 colour and word prompt cards. Oh, I've also just got one quick thing just to point out as well. On each of the cards, okay, you can see there is a suggested colour, there's a suggested word, but if you look at the pattern in the background also, I've included or organised the colours in the background of each card so that it either suggests a complementary or contrasting colour scheme for that main colour. The word can be done independently, but your colour scheme is there. I'll just pull out another card at random. So there's one for lime. You can see the colours in the backs of the cards are different for each one, and they're either complementary or contrasting. That's going to give you a nice kind of impact on your page. Oh, excuse me. Right, it's time I showed you how I put these together. So let's switch over to my overhead camera and let's get going. So these are the cards that I was referring to. So these are the 52 Random 52 weekly prompt cards. So each one is different. They've all got printed backs on them. So they look like a proper deck of cards that can be kept in a box. So once you're done with them, you can keep them in the box, or you can take the one out from the front and put it to the back and work your way through each of the cards, or you can take the cards out and shuffle them randomly, hence the name the Random52. Shuffle like a proper deck of cards, and then choose one at random, or get somebody else to choose one for you. There we go. We have citrus and botanical. So what I'll do is I will just quickly show you how I've printed these cards out, how I've managed to get the backs printed on each one, how easy it is to do. So I'll pop over to my computer and I'll show you how I printed the sheets out and then cut them out to create the cards, and then I'll show you how I printed the box, how I cut the box out, and how I constructed the box to keep them in. So when you get your Digi download and you've opened up the PDF, you can see that there are 15 pages in the entire document. Now the first page is the back of the cards. So page 2 are where the cards actually start. And if you scroll all the way down to the last page, you'll see that's where the box template is to keep all the cards once you've printed them out and then cut them out of the sheet. So we'll go back to page number 2. For me, the easiest way to print these out is to print from page 2 to page 14. Those are all of the weekly prompt cards. Once you've printed out those pages, those 13 pages, all you have to do is to turn the page or the pages back round, put them back in your printer, and then print page 1 on the back of those for the 13 pages, and you'll have your cards on the front and then the pattern on the back, just like a normal pack of playing cards. So that's the easiest way to do that. Obviously the box you can print at a later date and cut out to keep them in. I will show you the page construction in a little while. It's not the page construction, the box construction in a little while, and how to make it a little bit easier on yourself when you're actually putting the box together. I've done it in such a way that you only need to put glue in a couple of places, and then that will hold the box in place. It's not a real complicated procedure to put the box together. So what I'll do is I will print page number 2, and then I'll print on the back page number 1. So, and then you'll be able to see how I've done it, and then I'll show you what it looks like when you cut them out. Okay, so I'm going to go to page number 2, and I'm going to go File, Print. I'm going to select my printer, so that's my Epson WF2630 series printer. This is the one with the DuraBrite ink that's permanent when dry. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to click on current page, which is page 2, or I could type in there page 2, but current page is the current page that we're actually looking at. I'm going to do actual size, and I'm going to let it select auto portrait and landscape. So obviously it's a portrait sized page, it's not well, landscape. Duh. So for those that are in the US and use 8.5 by 11, that is the size of the sheet. If you're European and use A4, I also think they use A4 in Australia too, click actual size. Because I've centered the cards in the middle of the page, if you just click actual size, they will fit nicely on an A4 sheet also. And then obviously you want to print in colour, so I'm going to click print now. Okay, so once the page is printed, I'm just going to take it out, turn it over, and then pop it back into the printer, and then print page 1. So I'm just going to go back to page 1, go File, print, current page, actual size, auto portrait, and then click print again, and then that should then print on the back. So we now have our double-sided print that we can grab a knife and just cut out. Okay, so here's the sheet. Now, obviously, the thicker the cardstock that you can fit through your printer, the better, because you want these to be kind of rigid and like playing cards. So whatever thickness of paper or card you can get through your printer, I suggest that you put in the thickest that you possibly can. It just makes them a lot easier to handle and they feel better once they've been done. So this is the sheet, obviously that's the back to it. So all you need to do then is just to grab your scissors or your knife and literally just cut them out. Or if you're better with using a paper trimmer or a guillotine, whatever is easiest for you really, you just cut them out the best way that you can manage or that you're comfortable with. I like to put my ruler on the left hand side of the line and then move it up rather than work on the inside out. So once I've got those outside corners cut out, I can butt up, trim, just move that to one side. Now because I've got a line there, a clear defined line, I can just trim that strip off the top, throw that away, and then literally just separate these two cards now. That's one. That's two, and then do the same thing for the other two. And then just remove that last piece of excess. There we go. So you now have the first set of cards, and obviously if you turn them over, they've got the back printed. They're ready to go. You just have to repeat that process then for the remaining cards in the set. Now I did exactly the same thing for the box. So here's the box, but I didn't print the back, didn't need to. So this is the box, and rather than sit there and show you how I've cut the box out, because that can be incredibly boring, in true TV style, here's one I prepared earlier. Now, a couple of things that I just want to point out. The flaps that sit there and the flaps that sit here, those want to be cut horizontally, and the ones at the bottom want to be cut vertically where this join is there. Now what I've done just to make things a little bit easier is just actually cut them at an angle. Now this will help you when you're actually constructing the box to keep the cards in. So I'll explain why. So you can either use glue or you can use double-sided tape, red liner tape if you have it, because that's stronger and better for card construction, but just for the purposes of this and for ease I'm going to use glue. So I'm just going to grab my little bottle of glue and I'm just going to add a little bit of glue on that flap there, a little bit of glue on that flap there. So the one underneath the actual front is the one that has the glue flaps there and there. You only need to add glue in a couple of places, so all you have to do is then just lift those up and fold the sides in. You don't need to use the front flap just yet, and then you can just use your fingers just to hold them in place until it grabs, just like that. You've actually then got the carcass almost complete. So just hold those in place. If you want to put a little paper clip on there just to hold it while it sets, that's entirely up to you. This glue does set pretty quickly and I don't normally need to do that. And then all you have to do is just to run some glue down the inside front flaps there, or use your double-sided tape or your glossy accents if you want to really make sure that it's not going to come apart, and then literally just drop the front flap up, and I've got a little bit of wiggle room on these, and then just hold it in place until the glue sets. Then I can just rub off any excess. And that's pretty much it for the box. It's really, really easy to construct. You then have your top, and then you've got your little flap that you can just tuck in, and then you've got your box done, ready to hold all of your cards. And here's my full set of cards ready to go in the box. Obviously I need to leave that for a few seconds just to let it sit and set, so it's going to be ready to accept all the cards. But that's it, all done. That's all 52 cards, all cut out, all with the backs, that I can take out whenever I need to and use as inspiration for an art journal page or a mixed media project. Easy as that. So they're as easy as that to print out, cut out, construct the box and put together, and they're a great handy resource for using, for creating or giving you that springboard, that kind of spark of creativity whenever you need it. And also these would be ideal to create and give as gifts to your friends, for, you know, that also do art journaling. I'm sure they would appreciate that. So that's it really. As I said, the cards are already on the website ready to go, so you're ready to purchase and download and get cracking on those. I will be using these Random 52 cards myself throughout 2019, so I will try throughout the entire of 2019 use one card per week, pull out at random and use in an art journal project. So you'll see me referring to these cards quite often, and also if you want to play along with me, then you can do that too. That's all from me for now. I will see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now.